Hey everyone, Chuck Smoot back again with another conversation on BGLOs. I'm going to be continuing from the last video. We're talking about BGLOs in Christianity, part 2. So we're going to be talking about issues. We're going to be talking about the whole denouncing on social media thing. Obviously, you can probably guess that one kind of annoys me. So before I get into it, remember to like the video, share it with your friends, tell your friends, leave comments. You can leave comments in the comment section or DM me. Remember to subscribe to keep up to date on future episodes. And remember, you can always follow me on Twitter at the Rebel Deuce, TheRebelDeuce. Now, let's talk about this whole denouncing on social media things. In about the last 2 years, I would say I've seen a number of people take to social media to publicly denounce their membership in various Black Greek Letter organizations and or to explain their reasons for doing so. To be honest, people, this one really bothers me. And it bothers me for so many reasons. One, and I'm going to step on some toes, and I don't apologize for it. This is what I really think. A lot of these people are attention seeking. And they may say, oh, well, Chuck, aren't you attention seeking by doing these videos? Partially. But I'm also trying to provide an opposite point of view, because you see a lot of stuff and people say all this negative stuff about Black Greek organizations. And as I said in the first video, and I'll say over and over again, we are not perfect. There are a lot of things that we could do and should be doing better. And I will be addressing some of those issues in upcoming podcasts. So I am not here to pretend or suggest that Black Greek organizations are perfect, that we are at fault, and that everything we do is right, and how dare someone criticize us. No, I criticize my own organization on a regular basis. My friends will tell you I am sometimes painfully honest about our failings and about our shortcomings and things we need to be doing better. But with but outside of that, we don't have a lot of people countering the arguments that are out there. And that's why I'm doing these videos, to counter some of this information and to provide a different point of view. But going back to the denouncing on social media thing. Ultimately, one thing I hear from people time and time again is that their decision for them to denounce was a decision between them and God. That they had some revelation where they say that God spoke to them, where they feel that their spirit led them to change their mind about the organization that they joined. And that's what led them. Well, if it was between you and God, keep it between you and God. Why are you sharing a personal, private revelation between you and God? Because that, according to you, was a conversation between you and God. Now, some people will say, oh, well, God told me to tell everybody, XYZ elemental P. I personally believe that God is a God of consistency, that God is a God of perfection, that God is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. That the only thing that God cannot do is fail. That is what I believe. So therefore, for me, why is God telling some of these social media people one thing? He never said it to me. I've never had a moment. And I've had moments when I've questioned my faith, when I've challenged my faith, when I have had really really interesting talks with God about a myriad of things. And at no time did God ever say to me, oh, you shouldn't be an alpha. Never told me I shouldn't be a Mason either, for the record. But I've never had that. So, and yet I have experienced the Spirit of God through some of the work I have done through my fraternity. One of the things I mentioned in the first video is I am the alumni advisor to the college chapter that I was initiated in. And I've watched these guys do some amazing work. And I've seen the work that these young men do on behalf of the fraternity to better the community, and on behalf of the community to provide uplift and to provide help, aid, and support. And I feel I've been in situations where I've felt that God was working through these young men in the mentorship and the service projects that they've done. And when people come and say, oh, I was helped by this or I was helped by that. One of the things I also do a lot of work with is domestic violence awareness and education. And where I have seen programs sponsored by Black Greek Letter organizations where the people at the program are exposed and given information that they have not gotten anywhere else, where they are able to begin the healing process from being abused, and I'm not talking about hazing, I'm not talking about pledging, I'm talking again about domestic and sexual abuse and violence. People who talk about being raped, people who talk about being sexually assaulted on campus, people who talk about being assaulted. And these organizations have these programs designed to give people help, and people come there and they get help and they're very thankful. I've seen God in those moments, and I've seen God in the moments when people are crying and saying thank you for providing this information. So if we were so bad, why would God let us do that? Why would we be able to have that type of impact? Why would a male fraternity be able to help give women information and begin the process of healing from their abuse? Why would that happen if we are so against God, if God doesn't want us to be a part of it? And, I can go on and on and on about that. But these people who denounce, they say all this stuff and, God saying, so, God told you, okay, you think that's what God told you, I'll accept that. But then, and let's reference the previous episode where we talked about the taking of oaths. There is a scripture, let your yea be yea or your nay be nay. Swear not by any false oath. And also don't break an oath. Let your, uphold your oath. So you took an oath. There are scriptures to say, hey, once you make an oath, you're supposed to uphold it. But then you break an oath by splashing everything out in social media for the world to see. And some of y'all are telling all the secrets, spilling the tea, as the kids like to say today, which I think is a ridiculous statement, but that's another story. But the reality is, it does nothing but make you an attention seeker, because you can look, every person who is interested in denouncing their letters, every organization, all of the Divine Nine organizations have a mechanism on their websites where you can go in and click and denounce your membership and remove yourself from the rolls and be done with it. There is no valid reason to, once you do that, if it is indeed between you and God, if it is indeed based on information you discovered, that you have to go out and do all this attention-seeking stuff to get people to co-sign and tell you that you're right. That's what people want. Hey, that's what happens. I get that's part of human nature, but it's unnecessary. Denounce your letters, do it, and be done with it. I'm one of the things that I see time and time again when I hear these, and I've watched a lot of these videos, and when I hear these people's stories, I'm left with a couple of different things. And the first one I'm going to say is directed at members of Black Greek organizations. We have got to do a better job of explaining beforehand what we are really about. We have got to do a better job of saying this is what becoming a member of this organization is like. It's not all perfect, but here's what we expect. And then when you tell people what you expect, then be consistent. Too many Black members of Black Greek organizations are inconsistent. They get at these information and rushes and smokers, and they build all this smoke about, we're these, we're service organizations and we do help and aid and support the community. And then the moment after people get initiated, they're not going to service projects. They're not doing community service. They're not helping the homeless. They're going out stepping. They're going out wanting to stroll. They want to be in step shows. They want to go parties. They want to get drunk. Of course, some people are going to see a conflict because that is not what we're about. Black Greek Letter organizations are not about the stepping and the partying. That is a portion of what we do, but that's not what we're about. And we as Black Greek Letter organizations, we have to be consistent with our words and our deeds. If we're telling somebody that we're all about the service, then when these people get initiated, and it's one thing that my alumni chapter does, and one thing that I try to do with the young men who are in the college chapter that I advise, is even before they get initiated, they're being told about the different committees and projects. What do you want to do when you become a member? Can you work on what are your strengths? What can you bring to the table? And then match them up with people who will bring that information out, who will teach them about doing service and doing the programs and doing the events that they've talked about doing, and then hold them to it after they get initiated. We just let people get initiated and come in the door, and we go, I hope you'll serve this on this committee and that committee. When I got initiated in 1987, the day at my first chapter meeting, which was I got initiated on a Saturday morning, on an early Saturday morning, 5:37 in the morning, for the record. My next chapter meeting was the next day, that Sunday. And when we sat down, the president of the chapter sat down and said, you were going to be on this committee, you were going to be on that committee. For instance, with me, I was told they knew I was a writer. So they put me on what we call the associate editor to the Sphinx Committee. I was put on social committee because I was kind of a social person. I like to talk to people. We were put on community service committees. We were tasked with coming up with a service project and then carrying it out. Now, I will admit we did not do a good job of that then, but I see this happening not often enough in Black Greek organizations. So the day someone gets initiated, put them on a committee and hold them to it. Make sure they're doing the work. Make sure you are giving them work to do, and make sure they are doing the work. The other thing is do a better job of explaining the meanings behind your rituals. Too often people get initiated and they have not been properly explained what the ritual means. Black Greek Letter organizations need to do a better job of explaining their rituals, their signs, their symbols, their hand signs, all of this stuff. On the whole, too many Black Greek organizations don't do it. And if you are a new initiate and you are not taught that information, ask, dare I say demand it. Because if you are a member of a Black Greek organization and you don't understand your ritual, you have the right to demand that that be explained to you. And if someone in your chapter won't do it, then go to your district or state representative. If they won't do it, go to your regional representative. If they won't do it, go to your national or general president. There are people you can go to. If you are not getting that information when you get initiated, it is your responsibility to get that information if your chapter or your sponsor or your recommender is not giving you that information. So a lot of this stuff of, oh, I didn't know this, I didn't know that. Some of these people I want to ask, did you ask? Or were you just waiting for someone to come down from the heavens and to explain to you all the mysteries of Alpha Phi Alpha or Kappa Alpha Psi, Delta Sigma Theta, or Alpha Kappa Alpha? What were you doing to get that information? One of the things that really made me laugh, I saw someone a few weeks ago on Facebook denouncing Alpha Phi Alpha. And, okay, part of me is like, okay, see ya. But what got me is when he started talking about, in the context of this, of how the basis of Alpha Phi Alpha was against Christianity. And he used the Sphinx, which is one of the emblems about Alpha Phi Alpha, as evidence how we're against Christianity. And who the Sphinx is modeled after. Khufu, the Egyptian pharaoh, how he was against Christianity. So therefore, since he was against Christianity, that means Alpha, since we use the Sphinx as one of our symbols, that the fraternity is against Christianity. I am sure in like manner, the Deltas get the same thing because their emblem is the pyramids. And so since the pyramids were built by Egyptian pharaohs who weren't Christians, then therefore Deltas are against Christianity. The reason why that argument is ridiculous, the Sphinx was built at least 5,000 years ago. The Sphinx predates Christianity by at least 3,000 years. How was the creator of the Sphinx against something that had not even been created? How was the persons who had the pyramids in Egypt built against Christianity when some of the pyramids may be as much as 8,000 years old, predating Christianity by at least 6,000 years? I hear some of the stuff and I wonder, do people even think about some of the crap that they're saying? And yes, I said crap, because if I hear someone saying that the Alpha is against Christianity because we use the Sphinx as our emblem and the Egyptian pharaoh was against Christianity, that's ridiculous. There's too many conspiracy theories. Now, there are other things when you look at some of the other rituals and some of the other things that are about that. Some of that is confusing. I get that. And you may wonder, well, how does this play into the whole thing? Again, I get that it's confusing, but I'll go back to what I said earlier. Ask someone to explain it to you. I know in Alpha, and I'm sure with the other organizations, we have ritual courses. We have very learned individuals who can tell you everything about the ritual, backwards, forwards, upwards, and down, and explain it with ease. I would like to think I'm one of those people, but there are people who are so much better than me and far more knowledgeable than I am. But we have ritual workshops. We have opportunities to learn these things. I know the other organizations do as well. We, as Black Greek letter organizations, we have to do a much better job of explaining our stuff and the people are getting initiated, you have to do a much better job of seeking the information out. It is not our fault you don't do the proper investigation. There's so much information out there. If you are using hazing as a reason for denouncing your letters, and if you didn't think hazing went on before you joined the organization, you're fooling yourself. If you are thinking that there's all this demonic stuff and you don't do the investigation yourself, that's your fault. Do the investigation ahead of time. Don't get in an organization, sit in an organization for a number of years, and then all of a sudden go, oh, I don't want to be in this organization anymore. The other thing that I have noticed, I've been in Alpha for 32 years, and I've had my moments, not because of anything else, where I've been upset at the frat, where the frat has done a number of things that I really didn't like. And I've been vocal about that. I've written about it, what have you. For sake of reference, I'm a Chicago Alpha. When our house got torn down, I was not a happy camper. And we were very vocal about it. A lot of us Chicago Alphas who were made in the 70s and 60s, 70s, and 80s, a lot of us were the same. But one thing I noticed is that some of these people, they get mad at their organization because they got mad at an individual. Some of these people have sour grapes. Some of these people got into an argument with the president of a chapter or their dean of pledges or their sponsor or pledge father or pledge mother or their basilisk or whoever, polemarch, whatever title you want to call. Or someone didn't help them when they needed help. They expected to get a job and their organization didn't help them get a job. They saw something they didn't like. I see a lot of personal animus in these videos. And a lot of these people have a personal axe to grind. And sure, they couch it in very spiritual language, and they will cite scriptures, and they'll go through the rituals, and they'll expose the rituals on social media and on YouTube videos. I'm sure you can find them. But what's the context behind it? And when these people, and when some of them, not all of them, because I do not want to paint a broad brush, but when you really examine some of them, you can tell they're mad about something. Someone made them angry, and someone else didn't back them up. Maybe a couple of people. Maybe they weren't accepted in the cool kids club. Maybe they thought their process was too intense. Maybe they thought their process wasn't intense enough. Maybe they didn't get any number of things. Maybe they didn't do the service project that they wanted, or that they weren't able to raise the amount of money that they wanted. There are a number of things. But what I see through my experience is I see a lot of people with sour grapes. You can disagree with me all you like. I'm sure some of you will. But that's what I see. Because I've been the disgruntled Alpha member before. I've never considered denouncing my membership, but I've been disgruntled and I've been mad, and there have been times where I didn't want anything to do with the frat outside of my close circle of people. I was financially inactive for over 20 years. So I get it. I speak from a place of experience. Those personal axes to grind can wreak havoc. People need to be honest with themselves about their motivations. Why are you sharing secrets? If you're out there reading rituals and going through it, you're trying to hurt someone. You are trying to strike back at someone for what you think they did to you. And maybe something was done to you. I'm not going to challenge that. But when you're revealing the secrets and reading the rituals and talking about what's in a ritual and talking about the challenges and all that stuff and the passwords, and You're doing that maliciously, and it's very petty. And I'm here to say it's not necessary. You're seeking to get revenge. And the last time I checked, again, since we're talking about stuff in the Bible and Christianity, I thought, Bible says, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. So when people do these things, it's for two reasons, in my opinion. It's to get attention and to strike back out at what they perceive has been done to them. Because 90% of the people that they're really reaching is an amen chorus. It's people who are just agreeing with them. Oh, girl, you're sure right. I'm so glad God delivered me from that. That's why I never want to be in a Black Greek organization anyway. Or, brother, God used you on that one. See, and this is what I denounce too. It's all an amen chorus. And dissent is not welcomed or encouraged. Because they can't really fully debate it and discuss it. And so they'll just say, oh, well, you're just fooled by the devil. A ridiculous statement, if any, because, just because someone disagrees with you does not mean they're of the devil or they're influenced by the devil. It means someone else has a different interpretation of what happened than you did. I'm going a little long, but I want to end this with this. Again, Black Greek Letter organization members do a better job of screening, interviewing, vetting your potential members. And then once you do that, teach them what they are entitled to know, which is everything ritualistically about their organization. Don't have people out there going to YouTube and going to Facebook to find out what their ritual means. People who are interested, if you are not being taught, ask. No, and don't ask. As I said earlier, demand. If you are a duly initiated member of your organization, you have the right to demand to be told what's in your ritual of the organization that you joined. Get involved. Black Greek Letter organization members, get people involved and be consistent. If they say they wanted to create a 100-person mentor program, make sure you give them the tools to do that. And then if they don't do it, hold them accountable. If you come in and say, I want to do XYZ, and nobody is helping you, then you know what? Go to another chapter. Go somewhere else. There's always someone that can help you in the organization, or sometimes even outside the organization. Stop sharing the secrets, because you're only being petty, and it's showing you to be a weak person that you once took an oath to keep these things sacred, and now because you're mad or because you think you got a message from God, you want to tell everybody. It's petty, it's weak, and it's ridiculous. And everyone do your proper organization, proper investigation. These organizations are lifetime commitments, so you need to honor that by doing the proper investigation. And that's it. Let me know what you think. Leave me a comment, DM down here. Remember to like, or if you even want, dislike it. I don't care. Share it with your friends. Tell your friends about it. And don't forget to hit the subscribe so you can be made aware of upcoming videos. And remember, you can follow me on Twitter @TheRebelDeuce. This is Chuck Smoot signing off. Hope to see you next time.